within the fundamental objectives of the master plan's efforts to promote UN SDG 3. The master plan is a global initiative created by a consortium of youth leaders from around the world, constituted on two fundamental objectives: one, to implement the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and secondly, to promote the UN International Day of Education. The master plan's primary focus, therefore, is on youth around the world, and most importantly, to address global youth issues such as mental health and well-being. In December of 2020, a team of over 16 young parliamentarians from around the world who formed the chief delegates at the master group and the core committee of the master plan UN group developed two global policies as part of the campaign. One, to train teachers on how to manage students and youth, and secondly, to use how we can use sports as a tool. And that led to us sharing and having this forum here today, we realize that sports can be used as a tool or as a way to engage young people, creatively, so that they can have better ways of addressing their challenges. And that is the main reason we have this meeting here today. We want to hear from you. We want to take notes from you. We want to pretty much just share ideas on how we can, have sports as a tool. But more importantly, we seek to ensure that we have, in the near future, a sports week, which will generally be between this time, within this period, this week, that we can have an international, sports week where sportsmen and women are celebrated, or rather sports in general is celebrated as a tool that will enable young people to be engaged productively. And therefore, it's my humble, belief that all of us are going to participate fully and have a way or have conversations that will lead towards that goal. I think I will now yield the floor to my good friend, Honorable Sebastian, if that's in order. Chairman, is that the case?
Yeah, or else maybe I can actually have an intro. I'll introduce everyone.
All right.
And then, because then you can actually. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining. First of all, I thank Honorable Minister Emma, Minister of Sports and Youth from Namibia. I thank Minister Deputy Andres Sotomayor from Ecuador, His Excellency Ambassador Omar Hilali. I was also a member of the advisory board of the Master Plan Group, and Honorable Sebastian, Honorable Senator Mr. Jivani, and thank you, Mr. Barber Khorir. And first of all, I will start with the Honorable Minister Emma Khorir. Emma, to give her valuable thoughts on this initiative and also to lead this conference. Thank you very much, Minister.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope I'm audible. If I can get a nod. I'm audible enough?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Greetings from Namibia. And here in Namibia, it's now afternoon. It's quite warm as we are still in summer. And on this very important day, I would like to acknowledge all honorables present, His Excellencies, the ambassadors, and very key, our sports persons that are present and all the viewers. And thank you very much for having me. In commemorating or celebrating the International Sports Day, I would just like to share with you what we are doing in Namibia and just sharing that perspective, how we are promoting sport for health and well-being, more specifically for the youth. So I'll run you through a very short presentation because I think that will give us a better picture. Just bear with me as I look up my presentation. Okay. Okay, as I was given the topic to discuss issues and as well as promote the International Sports Week that we are going to discuss today, I'll just take you through roughly a few slides of presentation where I'll share the background that emanated to these discussions today. And then I would also like to align the SDGs that speaks to sport. And I'll touch on the importance of sports for health and well-being, which I think is very crucial for today's discussions. And as I mentioned, I'll then give you a synopsis as to what initiatives we are pursuing in Namibia to promote health, sport as a tool for health and well-being. And then I'll just wrap up with a way forward. By way of background, I think I'll skip some as Mercy already alluded to, how these discussions of today emanated, which is part of the policy that was adopted by the UN Master Group. And one of the two projects that was agreed upon is sport as a tool, and that's what I'll be focusing on. And already, as you are aware, that this was supported by 13 member states. And again, this discussion aims to champion or to urge governments to take the leading role for sports, mostly in academic institutions. I've put academic institutions because we also want to cover schools and then education or tertiary institutions. And then obviously for championing the role for sports in public spaces, that is now for community platform. I want to pause here because when I read the policy, it really also aimed to address the youth that are suffering from depression, the youth that are suffering from stress. So the WHO report in 2016 indicated that over around 62,000 of adolescents, that's now the age from 10 to 19, committed suicide. This was mostly due to depression. And also again, WHO indicates that the third leading cause of death, especially amongst the teenagers, 15 to 19, is suicide. And hence, this topic for me is very crucial in order for us to play our role as a sports sector to alleviate this challenge that the youth is facing. As we know that where we stand now, and I would like to borrow the words from the UN Secretary General, when he launched in 2018 the UN Youth Strategy, where he says that where we stand now, we are having the largest young generation in history. So I just want to state that this is the magnitude of the problem. And when it comes to our continent, Africa, it's estimated that by 2050, more than half of the population will be below the age of 25 years. So this is really just to indicate that we are dealing with the majority of the population in the world. Hence, as government, as developmental partners, we really need to intensify our efforts there to come to the party and play our role. Relevant, what are those SDGs that relates to sport? And I don't know, okay, there we go. SDG number 3, that speaks to good health and well-being. I think it's already alluded to by the earlier speaker. This one is now also, it gives us really that directive as to, in terms of that 2030 plan to transform and change lives, what is it that we plan to aim under that SDG 3? The fourth one also speaks to sports because it now again stresses the point of physical education and school sports. So, and we know that research has shown that sport correlates with high performance. And we know that also, as I indicated, the challenges that the youth are faced, more specifically from the age of 10 to 19, also can be addressed by having promoting sports for health and well-being. The one SDG also that relates to sport is the gender equality one, that's the SDG 5. SDG 8 as well speaks to decent work. And we also know that sport is also one tool that helps to reduce inequalities that is faced between men and women. Sustainable cities and communities, I've put it on there because especially when it comes to community sport, we are looking at cities providing the much needed facilities. We have what they call open air gym, and all these are facilities that aim towards promoting healthy lifestyles, promoting an active nation. Also, SDG number 12 and number 13. All these are some of the SDGs that I've identified is related to sport. Now, coming to the importance of sport and health, I want to start that I hope I'm not preaching only to the converted in terms of, for us in the sports sectors, we know exactly the power of sports, but I think this is a very good platform for us to amplify the importance that sports play. You know, last week I was in South Africa and I was fortunate enough to accompany the Deputy Minister of Sport there, where she was handing out a community sports facility. And at that event, one of the mayor or the representative from the city council says that for government, it looks as if you are handing over a sports facility. But for us on the ground, it's about saving lives. So this is really the importance that sports play in saving lives. This is the importance that sports play in improving the quality of life. I have put there the first slide, that is that sport do promote nation building and patriotism. And as we are celebrating the International Sports Day for Development and Peace, I want to emphasize at this point that I think the value that sports bring is often underrated. And it's now upon us to really see how do we position sport out there. I want to use an example of, I was reading this article of how Drogba, we all know Drogba from Ivory Coast, how he used the former Chelsea, not that I'm a Chelsea fan, how he used sport to end civil war. That was in 2013. So this is really the value that sports bring in all aspects, including peace, not only health. And again, one aspect that I've identified there is it builds character value. We all know that for sports, it helps to instill self-discipline. It helps to increase self-confidence, and especially in children and in youth. I mean, these are some of the contributing factors that we are seeing that is contributing to having depression, contributing to mental health. So sport also then improves the quality of life. And I've put this picture of this girl, Beatrice Masilingi, on purpose, because I want to narrate a story where Beatrice comes from a previously disadvantaged, marginalized home, where she was awarded a scholarship because of her performance in athletics. So this is some of the areas that can help improve the quality of life. As we speak, she is very close to qualifying for Tokyo 2021. So this is really the value that sports bring in the youth's life. So it does improve quality of life. And even in adults, it's especially when it comes to community sport, it also helps to distress, it helps to deter people from engaging in alcohol abuse, substance abuse. So sport really is a tool that we can use to promote health and well-being. The next part, we all know that it contributes to mental health, and I think it's emphasized in the policy document that we will be discussing today. And again, now, lastly, it's really just a lifestyle thing. We want to have an active nation. We want to have people who are able to contribute to their national development plans. We want to have a healthy nation that can help us towards the journey of transforming as we go towards near the 2030. So this is really just some of the important factors that I extracted in terms of how sport can contribute to health and well-being. Now, in terms of Namibia, giving a perspective where we are, I've put the picture there. This picture, okay, that's yours truly in there. And in the middle is our First Lady, Madam Monica Gengos, and this athlete is a basketball player. These are some of the initiatives that we are undertaking to raise awareness, again, in the sports sector, especially when it comes to athletes, especially when it comes to youth. We are conducting awareness sessions. You know, as youth, they are faced with myriad challenges, and sport can also be used again, as I mentioned, to help them distress, to help them really find themselves, and again is to help the youth to fulfill their potential. I've highlighted some of the few policy initiatives that as Namibia we are embarking upon. We are currently reviewing our legislative framework, where we are reviewing the Sports Act, that is Act of number 2003. And really this review is necessitated by the fact that we want to ensure that we are attending to the challenges that we are faced with, and also to ensure that we do improve on our offering. And coupled to that is we are also reviewing our sports policy and recreation, which then emphasize the issue of sport as a tool for health and well-being. One of the initiatives that I would like to share as well is that we are developing a child safeguarding policy with the assistance of UNICEF. I'm mentioning this because we do know, and we've been narrating, that sport is one tool that can help us fight all other ills that we are faced with in the society. But again, we have seen that sport breeds issues of sexual abuse, emotional and physical abuse, especially when it comes to coaches, sports administrators. There have been cases where, because of that leadership role, the trust position of a coach, it leads to sexual abuse. So this policy now aims really, firstly, we are going to develop a training package, mostly for the teachers, for the sports coaches, to train them to also identify what constitutes issues such as rape, abuses, and all that. And also, apart from the toolkit that we are going to develop, is to training of trainers, so that we spread it across. And this policy will then lay the frameworks for that safeguarding. And one initiative also is we've entered into a memorandum of understanding with the ministry that's charged with education. And in terms of school sport and physical education, we are coordinating the development of a school sport policy that will then lay that foundation, because we have had many a times complaints that school sport is not as it used to be. Physical education is not at the stage where it was. So we want to revisit, and we want to really also implement some of the actions like the Kazan Action Plan that was passed during the ministers' meeting in Russia. So that is some of the things that we are doing also, just to ensure that we have policies in place. We also, as I mentioned already, running awareness sessions. This is one of the very successful programs that's being run by the Office of the First Lady, called Be Free. So last year we started initiating dialogues that was called Be Free Bowling. This is now really aimed at including the sector of sport, again, to give education in terms of sexual and reproductive health and all other character building activities. Sports Development Index is also one tool that we are working on that will assist us to quantify the contribution that sports make to the SDG, mostly relating to SDG 3. And also with this index, we are looking at positioning sport really in terms of economic development, and that part also of achieving the SDG 1 and 2 that speaks of no poverty and no hunger. And lastly, really, we want to use sport for what we say, sport for non-sporting outcomes. And as I already alluded to, these are now really the issues of using sport for health outcomes, for well-being, for fighting mental health, for social cohesion, and also just the issues of team building again, because we do know that the issues of non-sporting outcomes are such as having a healthy lifestyle, and also again just to ensure that the youth are engaged productively. I'll conclude my presentation with the way forward, and I really at this point want to thank the committee that worked on these policies, that approved the policies and supported by 13 member states, and came up with this idea of this policy. And especially also again, calling on the governments and our developmental partners, all relevant institutions to support the policy and to rally behind the I'm With You campaign. And also is the urge to call to our private businesses to invest in sport as a corporate social responsibility, because we do know that government is tasked with many responsibility, and the issue of sport require multi-sectoral approaches, and governments alone cannot achieve this without the involvement of private businesses. We know that there are pharmaceutical companies out there who could come and also invest and play their role. And also again, urging governments to invest in sport, and more specifically in terms of infrastructure, materials, physical education, and to have teachers that are well trained to provide physical education in a manner or at a level that we require, and also to participate or to arrange for sports events. And lastly, I would like to make use of this opportunity to really urge governments, to urge institutions to rally behind adopting the April 6th to April 9th of every year as an International Sports Week. This is really for us to augment the International Sports Day that's celebrated on the 6th of April. And as we know that tomorrow, 7th of April, we'll be celebrating the International Health Day. So we are looking at combining this, because we do know that it kinds of correlate. So we are really urging to adopt that week. That will provide us an opportunity and a platform to celebrate our sports people. It will give us an opportunity to really recognize the role that sports bring forth to transform the lives of our people and also to develop our nations. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm looking forward to engaging you on this topic, and also for the rest of the 2 days for this conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable. So that was actually details, and you also actually gave us a good start what we can actually pursue and what we can actually tell the rest of the member states and the governments. And first of all, thank you for taking the lead to have an International Sports Week, which again is a global policy created by the Committee on SDG 3 and supported by almost like 18 young parliamentarians. And now the floor is actually given to Honorable Minister Andrea Sotomayor, Deputy Sports for Government of Ecuador. Thank you very much.
Hi, good morning. Hello to everyone. Mr. Cristo Thomas, Chair of the UN Plan, of the Master Plan UN Group, members of the Master Plan UN Group, other panelists, and representatives of the governments and sports organizations, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank for the invitation. It is an honor to be considered as part of the panelists in the Sports for Health Conference. Today, the International Day for Sports Development and Peace, and in some other places known as the International Physical Activity Day, we can celebrate the importance of sports as a vehicle for social transformation. Its practice not only contributes to a healthier life and a more inclusive world, it is a source of positive values and a tool for achieving goals, which may be either personal or for groups. When thinking about the relevance of sports acquired due to the pandemic, we can acknowledge that sports cannot be in the shadow of the public policies anymore. For instance, it provides soft power, facilitates social mobilities, and creates social capital. Considering this as part of a comprehensive strategy, I am sure that a great number of nations will increase their options to achieve higher physical activities indexes. That is the first step for developed sports, from the basics such as recreation, going through grassroots and youth, to end up with high performance level. Some concepts and initiatives such as sports for all, every move counts, equal play equal, white card or play true are a little sample of the huge work that is still missing around the world. When I first heard of the initiative for establishing the International Sport Week, I could only think about how pertinent it is, how relevant it may be for the next generation, and how necessary it is to include as many countries as possible. The scope of objectives for sustainable development includes sports as a transversal and fundamental factor. Hence, I have no doubt this initiative will support and reinforce the current and the pending work that is being addressed. From Ecuador, we congratulate the support the motion for establishing the ISW, and as president of the American Sports Council, CADE, my compromise is to present a statement in the next General Assembly for officially support as a multilateral organization comprised by 42 countries, the project Sports as a Tool. During the last 4 years, while chairing the Secretary of Sports of Ecuador, I have always said, sport get us together, or in Spanish, el deporte nos une. So be it. Thanks for your attention. Hope we can celebrate the International Sports Week very soon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much. So I think we are taking a big leap, you actually getting this thing, the UNGA. And again, I believe Honorable Minister was also trying to get this thing, the UNESCO. Thank you very much. And I now go to His Excellency, Ambassador Omar Hilali. Excellency has been a strong supporter of the Master Plan Group since the beginning, and particularly and with the campaign. And Excellency also advises us on SDG 13, which is climate change. Excellency, to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my good friend and Chair Christo. I have been with you since the beginning because I believe in what you are doing, and I believe in the force and strength of youth and the vital role of sports, of uniting people and bringing very good values and principles. So thank you, Senator Mercy Shibani, for your introduction. Thank you also to Honorable Minister Mrs. Emma Contema Gomas of Namibia for the very extensive, comprehensive, and very deep presentation. Thank you also to Honorable Minister Ms. Andrea Sotomayor of Ecuador for her vision for the importance of sports and the experience of her country. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am very pleased to address you today as we commemorate the International Day of Sport for Development and Peace. This commemoration is an additional occasion to highlight sports' multi-faced role as a catalyst not only for social economic development and societal change, but also for health, as emphasized in the UN Secretary General report, Sport, a Global Accelerator of Peace and Sustainable Development for All. Such recognition calls for further joint action and investment in initiatives that enable access to sport and recreational activities for all. Allow me to seize this opportunity to express our gratitude to the Master Plan UN Group for your continuous effort to promote the implementation of SDG 3 on good health and well-being, and convening this timely Sport for Health conference to stress the particular and important contribution of sport in this field. Today, I would like to put an emphasis on the importance of seizing the momentum of COVID-19 pandemic aftermath to use sport as a tool to build back better. Restrictions, uncertainty, isolation, marginalization, and lifestyle changes caused by the COVID-19 pandemic have had an enormous impact on millions of people's well-being, physically and mental health. Last year, as the world came together in the fight against COVID-19, we have witnessed numerous campaigns, including UN-led ones, encouraging individuals to maintain physical activity and other forms of recreation to stay healthy at home, which highlights the importance of being active, particularly for mental health. Sport is indeed an important vehicle for empowering individuals to overcome physical distress, develop self-esteem, as well as build and maintain a positive outlook on the future. Sport can also make a valuable contribution to preventive health policy as an impactful, cost-effective tool for improving health and promoting well-being. As we are called upon to build back better in the aftermath of the pandemic, there is an unmissable opportunity to continue reap the benefits of sport and physical activity for more resilient, stronger, and healthier communities. Excellencies, the focus of this conference is to look into the important contribution of sports in enabling SDG 3 on good health and well-being. However, given the undeniable contributions of sport to a number of other SDGs, namely on quality education, SDG 4, gender equality, SDG 5, decent work and employment, SDG 8, reduce inequalities, SDG 10, sustainable cities and communities, SDG 11, responsible production and consumption, SDG 12, climate actions, SDG 13, peace, justice, and strong institution, SDG 16, and partnership for the goals, SDG 17. Cross-cutting national, regional, and international effort to implement the 2030 agenda. Thus, member states are encouraged to adopt system-based approaches in the short, medium, and long term to safeguard the rights of all people to have access to environments and opportunities to be physically active as a means of improving individual and community health and contributing to effective sustainable development. All the relevant stakeholders, including but not limited to sport, health, education, civil society, media, and private sectors, need to work together to include and promote physical activity as a priority measure within different national policies. They also need to work in an integrated manner to develop targeted programs and initiatives that respond to specific needs of all citizens of different ages and abilities, and to do so in complementarity with other existing local, regional, and national initiatives to ensure mutual reinforcement and an effective and maximized contribution of sport programs, because sports alone cannot be a solution. We should give particular attention to programs that safeguard children's rights to rest and leisure, to engage in play and recreational activities in order to help build their character and protect them from abuse, as they are the most vulnerable to violence and exploitation. The COVID-19 pandemic reminded us that the practice of physical activity and sport is not only a fundamental right for all, but also a critical necessity to maintain physical and mental health and further contribution to development. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Excellency. As always, we don't have words to thank you. Before we go for getting it over to Mr. Sebastian for the second round, I request Honorable Congressman Braden to present the global policy. So Honorable Braden will actually read out the global policy that we have drafted. So the history of global policy is that we created a common document, and almost 18 parliament members, the continental presidents of European Students' Union, All African Students' Union, and political leadership of the Young Democrats and Indian Youth Congress, they all actually invested in developing this idea. And a special thanks to the ASDG3 committee as well, including Sebastian. So now I leave it to Congressman Braden to read out the global policy so that everyone knows what the global policy is, particularly on that. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Hello to everyone. Thank you again, Sir Crystal Thomas, for this invitation. And I hope everyone's been well and safe. For the policies, I would just like to reiterate that the Master Plan Group adopts the following projects to support as global policies for the I Am With You campaign, a global campaign focusing on depression and death due to suicide among youth globally, listed as a common agreed program of the SDG3, belonging to the fundamental objective 1 of the master plan. So policy 1 is Teacher Professional Development Program. This program provides teachers with information and resources to increase teachers' understanding and use of stress management and coping strategies for themselves and their students in the classroom. And policy 2 is Sports as a Tool. This project advocates for government, academic institutions, and businesses to take a lead role in developing extracurricular and sports activities in schools, public platforms, and all possible arenas. This will keep our students and youth physically and mentally active. Academic institutions must take a keen interest in promoting this initiative. The master plan will assign a parliamentary and chief delegate team under the leadership of Honorable Mr. Sebastian Palacios, Member of National Assembly of Ecuador. Suggested measures to implement are: 1, increase the practice of sports in academic institutions by extending the hours of sports activities, offer all types of sports for students of all ages, and provide facilities for practicing sports safety. 2, academic institutions must hire physical education teachers to guarantee proper learning, achieve personal development, and avoid injuries in students. 3, governments must invest in developing extracurricular and sports activities in all areas through specific public policies and programs that improve both practices. 4th, declaration for an international sports week to encourage all sectors to practice sports, not just in educational institutions, but in public arenas as well. 5th, build a sports infrastructure such as public sports fields, parks, playgrounds, and sports courts, which include access for people with disabilities in order to facilitate the practice of any type of sport. 6, motivate private businesses to invest in sports as a corporate social responsibility. 7, governments must implement tax exemptions or any type of economic incentives for private businesses to promote investments in all sports areas. 8, ensure and assure access to all disciplines of sports for people with disabilities, leading them to participate in every category of sports and competitions. 9th, develop projects in cooperation with international sports organizations to promote physical activity as a tool to achieve well-being for children and youth in accordance with the initiative I Am With You campaign. And finally, extend these actions to academic institutions, United Nations member states, relevant to UN agencies and departments, and all governments in the implementation of sports as a tool to keep the population physically and mentally active. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Congressman. I think we have created a better policy than anyone. And I also see that governments are struggling. There are data is almost like 93% of the member states or governments are actually disinvested or not even concentrating investing on mental health issues. And elected officials, none other than the elected officials, are the best person or the best social scientists to build such a policy than any pundits. So it gives us a profound joy and happiness. And I think this policy will be adopted by many. And thank you again, Congressman, for reading it out. And thank you, the team. And now I request Honorable Barnaba Kaur to give a speech. He's a former athlete and he represents Athletics Kenya. So Kenya is known for athletics, especially in long distance running. Thank you, Mr. Barba. So we look forward to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thomas, and all protocol of South excellencies who are here today. I'm actually privileged to be in this panel to discuss the issue of sports, particularly athletics in Kenya. As I've listened to speakers in this forum, I realize that the challenges, the needs of the sportsmen and women are actually cuts across the board. There's no difference, especially when we talk about athletes in Kenya. It is actually one of the leading sports in the country. It's actually the best that has already raised the name of this country from so many years. We have had great athletes like Dr. Kipchoge Keino, and recently Dr. Paul Delgado also, who is the president of National Olympic Committee in Kenya. So you realize that sports is very important in Kenya. And as a policy, I had the comment almost like that one from Namibia, that we have the same challenges that we have also gone through, that the partnership between Athletes Kenya and the Ministry of Sports is because we realized that in the beginning, the sports activities was part of the curriculum in the school, but eventually the whole setup changed and it started focusing mainly on education, pushing sports into the periphery. And because of the importance of sport in the country, Athletes Kenya, as a federation, decided to reach a partnership with the Ministry of Education to start again the process of now introducing sports in schools, so that from the early age, we have the youth also participating in sports. And we realize that Kenya is a young country. We have the largest population in the category of 15 years to 35, which has got more than 60% of the population. Then because of that, we need sports activities so that our athletes and sportsmen and women can also participate. The success of athletes in the country has also pushed us to start, with the support of World Athletics, to start the mass participation, so that as part of health situation in the country, to encourage the public participating in sports, we encourage events like road races, marathons, so that majority of the population can also take part in and ensure that the country also remains healthy. So that is the position that we have also as a country. The success of our athletes also ensures that the public can continue associating with sports activities. And that's why now Athletes Kenya plus other federations have come together to ensure that sports also is cultivated along with the population growth, then we have so many people now taking part and ensuring that the programs also can be successful. And I think that is what I can say for now, because we need now to ask we have asked the government of Kenya to continue supporting sports. We have the Ministry of Sports ministers who have also set up policies and programs that they are pushing in Parliament to ensure that it is also adopted as a policy by the government and give more support to develop sports, especially when we are going now to the Olympics. We need now to give on more encouragement and ensure that sports also is enhanced within the communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I leave it to, we'll go for the second round, asking everyone a follow-up questions. And we are hoping that the Athletics Kenya and similar athletic organization around the world, which you will know, will also rally in this big campaign. So Congressman Sebastian, now up to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Christo, and thank you, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here with you in this very special day. I have several questions for each of the participants. So first, I will ask Honorable Emma Kantema, Minister of Youth, Sports and National Service from Namibia. In your presentation, Emma, you mentioned the connection that exists between sports and gender equality. We think that is very, very important. So how are you planning, Emma, to encourage the African Union to support this campaign, particularly on the aspect of safety of girls? What are you planning to do to encourage the African Union to support this campaign, Emma?
Thank you very much, Sebastian, for the question. My father's name is Sebastian, so I have a connection to that name. I put on the SDG that speaks to gender inequality because we believe that sport, as I indicated, is one area where we break the barriers of gender inequality. And how I intend to champion this to the African Union is, the African Union Sports Council has different zones. And as Namibia, we resort under African Union Sports Council Region 5. So this is the regional body that promotes and develops sports in the region. And this is one institution that we are very closely working with, and is one institution that can be used to champion it at an AU level. And even in terms of Region 5, there is a strategic plan that we crafted from 2018 that will last for around 10 years. And this is really, for me, it's an institution that we use to champion. Again, as I mentioned, the issues of raising awareness is one way that we champion, that we break barriers for gender inequality. And also mentioned that we have to really position sport as a tool that contributes to the SDGs. So we will really just use the institution to rally for the African Union, but still as a ministry, and remember we report as government, and as a member state, we can then elevate this reporting at the Forum of African Union as well.
Thank you very much, Emma, for your answer. And so the next question will be for Andrea Sotomayor. As you heard, Andrea is the Minister of Sports from Ecuador. And Andrea gave us very good news. She announced that she, as Ecuadorian minister, will propose a resolution regarding the International Sports Week in the Americas Sport Council, the CADE General Assembly. That is a very good news, because this initiative, our initiative, will be listened and will be voted by 42 countries that are part of this organization. So, Andrea, the question is, when will this meeting will be held? When will the General Assembly of CADE will be held? So that we all know about the date. Andrea.
Hi, Sebastian. Thank you. Yes, the council is taking place. It was gonna take place in April, but now because of the pandemic and all that stuff has changed to May 13. And what is important to say is that Ecuador presides. Ecuador is the president of the American Sports Council. So I hope it has a little more power there, so we can, by that, we can support the motion for establishing the International Sports Week. But it's going to take place at May 13 this year, and we're going to have that motion there. For sure, it's going to be accepted by the other countries. I'm sure for that.
Thank you very much, Andrea. So we will be waiting that day, definitely. So the next question will be for Ambassador Omar Hilali, permanent representative of mission of Morocco to the UN. Omar, you have promoted excellent initiatives in Morocco regarding the practice of youth on sports. So particularly regarding our campaign, the I'm With You campaign and the declaration of the International Sports Week, what will the Morocco mission and Morocco as a country plans to do to support this campaign, Omar? Omar, are you there? Cristo, maybe we can make the next question to Honorable Mr. Barnabas Corey. Are you okay with that?
I think His Excellency is coming. In the meantime, I have one question to each ministers. One, the AU's part also is actually, Excellency was mentioning about the, well, on the phone, Excellency was mentioning, I mean, Honorable Minister was mentioning to me about the UNESCO's role on sports and well-being. Minister, do you have, can you just briefly explain what it was actually? Because for many of us, we know UNESCO's role in particular things, but about this one, I believe you are also in the board of UNESCO.
Sorry for that. Thank you, Cristo, for the question. UNESCO's role. UNESCO's role to sport, I think I want to take it back from the UNESCO, from the conference that was held in 2017 in Kazan. And this was the 6th International Conference of Ministers and Senior Officials responsible for physical education and sport. Now, this conference agreed on several actions, and I mentioned the Action 2, and yeah, there was the Action 3 plan. And both these actions is requested that the member states develop common indicators for measuring the contribution of physical education, physical activity, and sport to prioritize SDGs and targets. Now, this is really where we draw the the support from UNESCO on. So what we have done, we started with what I call the development of the Sports Development Index. And of
Muna.
that,
Muna?
the group that's working on that index, UNESCO is also represented. We are serving on the board in terms of Namibia being an executive member. Our ambassador to France, His Excellency Albertus Wachomop, is a member to UNESCO. So with that, we also hope to use that avenue then to see how do we leverage on that relationship to assist, especially when it comes to physical education and school sport. And one of our sports officers, the chief sports officer, serves on the UNESCO board. And that is really to see to it that we do bring this support that is much needed from UNESCO on the table as well. Thank you.
And one more question to Honorable Sotomayor. Also, maybe Minister of Emma can also join. How can a joint coalition, because of what we see is like two different sectors, Team of 42, which in the Americas, and then it's in the AU. Is there any global coalition, or for our sake, or for the master plan group, which, for example, when the committee led by Honorable Sebastian Messi and Braden, we also get the support from other 16 to 18 parliamentarians from around the world. So even with this for campaign, is it possible to have a global, this is what we wish to see, like everyone actually rallying in to support the international sports. So Honorable Sotomayor, if it's possible, like, I don't know how you foresee, how ministers actually foresee this campaign, or how we can bring it up for the master plan group, not just for master plan group, but in general.
Excuse me, can you, I have some.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so what we're trying to do, I know you just mentioned, and first of all, thank you for that initiative that you're presenting to the group. So the Americas have a group also does for AU, but when we created, when Congressman and the committee of SDG3 on Amity campaign created this global policy, we took opinions from 18 parliament members from 18 different countries, including Asian countries. So when we want everybody to be part of it. How is it possible, or is there any connection that you both see and to rally in other countries as well? Because there are a lot of other countries. I doubt there is a coalition in Asia. I doubt there's a coalition. I mean, of course, Europe will have it, but how are you both kind to, or how is it possible that you both can have a team and then support the whole campaign?
Well, the American Sports Councils worked with other councils from the whole world. We are part of a lot of groups, sports groups all over the world. So I see it possible to promote this initiative in those groups. Right now, we are working very hard with WADA, so we can by that we can also involve many other groups to be part of the initiative, of course. Remember that CADE are the countries from America. They are formed by the representatives of sports of each country, ministers or other kind of representatives, secretaries of sports of each country of the Americas. So we had a voice, an important voice, not just in America, and even in the world. No, we work with the groups of the whole world, so we can see the possibility to find the support for this initiative.
All right, thank you. Thank you, because we have to submit a report to our team as well to see like what the ministers have told and how we foresee this coming in future. Back to you, Honorable Congressman.
Thank you, Crystal. Okay, so I think we have Honorable Ambassador Omar back. Can you listen to us, Honorable?
Yes,
right?
Yes, I'm listening. Could you repeat your
you.
question, please?
Thank you very much. Yes, sure. I was saying that you have promoted excellent initiatives in Morocco regarding the practice of sports, especially in youth population. So particularly regarding our campaign, the I Am With You campaign and the International Sports Week. What would the Morocco mission plans to do in order to support this campaign, Mr. Omar?
Thank you very much for your question. Indeed, it's very important one. As you know, and as you just stressed it, Morocco is very involved in all activities of sport, and Morocco believes on the virtue of sport, not only for development, but also for linking countries and bringing peace, fighting violent extremism, helping youth to build better future for them, especially those who have capacity to be champions. We are all the time encouraging this. And talking about Morocco, in our cities, in all the cities, you will find fields to practice all kinds of sport in all areas. You want to play soccer, you want to play basketball, you want to play just gymnastics, you will find in different areas. So space and field are offered to youth because we don't want them to spend their time doing nothing, because this is the best way to violent extremism, to crime, to delinquents, and to bad things. What the mission can do, just we have been talking with the responsible of the Alliance of Civilization, and we are involved with the Alliance of Civilization, as you know, Mr. The Deputy Director, the Assistant Secretary General, who is at the head of this organization, is working on very ambitious program to involve and to use sport to bring people together, and especially to fight violent extremism and fight also terrorism. We are involved with him, and we are ready to do whatever will be possible to build that. We are ready to launch a campaign with the social media here, through our Twitter, through our all the means that we have in our mission, and we are also ready to aggregate and to associate ourselves with all missions and the members who are ready to launch calls, launch initiatives, or even a declaration at the United Nations that will be calling for sport for development and the implementation of different aspects of SDGs. So Morocco will deliver what he will promise. And as you know, whenever we are engaged in some any noble initiative or any noble objective like sport, like preservation of youth and family and peace, security, development, you will find us all the time your partner.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ambassador. Back to you, Christo.
Yes, thank you very much, Excellency. Before now we request, thank you, welcome Excellency Francisco Lopez, Ambassador, Permanent Representative for Portugal to the UN, another stout supporter of the Master Plan Group, and also always supporting the I Am With You campaign. Excellency, thank you for coming. We now request you to give a small note from your end. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Christo. Always a pleasure to cooperate with you and the Master Plan. A special greeting to my friend and colleague, the Ambassador of Morocco, Ambassador Omar Ilale. Always an honor to partner with him. Sport has proven to be a cost-effective and flexible tool in promoting peace and development objectives. Indeed, sports in its simplest form inspires balanced participation and has the capacity to promote and achieve gender equality also within societies. Sport is a significant enabler of sustainable development and peace, having the potential to contribute positively to almost all SDGs. It promotes the values of tolerance and respect, and plays a crucial role in the empowerment of women and of young people, individuals and communities, supporting as well health, including mental health, education and social inclusion objectives as explicitly recognized by Agenda 2030. In particular, sport motivates children to enroll and help them improving academic achievement, empowers girls and women by providing opportunities for leadership and accomplishments, helps to reduce stigma and increases the social and economic integration of marginalized people. The COVID-19 pandemic severely affected the lives and livelihoods of billions of people worldwide. In these difficult times, the value and benefits of sport becomes even greater in giving us hope and resilience to jointly face the common challenges. Sport is based on fundamental values of respect and friendship. It is open to everyone, connects people's lives around the world, strengthening social bonds, creating memorable occasions, and inspiring globally people to do better for themselves and for each other. People are bound by ties that transcend nationality, language, and origin. And as a former athlete myself, I can testify firsthand this reality. All these characteristics, I can say that I felt it and I benefited individually also myself. Portugal will remain a staunch supporter and advocate of sports for development and peace. We will continue to contribute to the realization of the ideals of sport as an instrument that promotes social integration and economic development, as well as fraternity, solidarity, non-violence, and tolerance. We will also continue to support the notion that sports play an important role in fostering peace, generosity, and healthy competition among nations and peoples. It is my sincere hope that this International Day, year after year, will act as a catalyst for new and exciting accomplishments. Let us together tap the full potential of sport as a driver of peace and as a driver of social change. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Thank you. Congressman Sebastian, do you have any questions to Ambassador Lopez?
No, Chris, I think Ambassador Lopez has been very clear in his presentation. Thank you very much, Ambassador.
Thank you, Excellency. Now we are going to the last stage, a final roundup. Before I call upon Congressman Braden to give a short note as well. And he's been pushing certain legislations of Master Plan Group. For example, I think Philippines is the first country to even submit a resolution for International Education Day. And he's also submitted the proposal to the Committee of Sports in Philippines. So I call on Congressman Braden for his thoughts, and if he has anything to reach out, ask the ministers, because I know you are developing this program in Philippines as well. Thank you, Congressman.
Thank you again, Sir Thomas. Actually, I do support this activity of yours. We must do everything and anything we can do to address the global issue of youth depression and suicide. And no action is too little or too small that is rendered to alleviate this problem. But I am proud to say that several projects of this policy are already being implemented in my district and in my country. In fact, among my projects is the construction of a public sports gym in my town and in my district, which is dubbed the football capital of the Philippines, where the local youth display so much passion into sports, and infrastructure such as a public basketball courts in various towns in my provinces are venues for many locals to play sports in the afternoons. Our academic institutions in our country, both public and private, offer physical education as part of a curriculum for primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. Moreover, the Committee on Youth and Sports Development of the House of Representatives, of which I am also a member of, is continuously creating and deliberating more legislation in the promotion of sports and development of our youth for the better, and especially in these pandemic times. There is still much more we can do, I therefore call upon those who are listening, and I encourage the participants here to do what you can do to support this initiative. We need more warriors to battle this cause. Again, thank you for this invitation, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Congressman. And now the final wrap up. Congressman Sebastian, as an athlete, you also have a counterpart athlete here. I know Minister Sotomayor is also an athlete, and I just learned that Ambassador Francisco Lopez is also an athlete. Thank you very much. And back to you, Congressman, to a final roundup and what will be our action plan next, because this is just a start. And before I conclude, thank you very much, Honorable Minister Emma and Minister Andrea. We have also reached out to at least over 6 ministers, sportsmen around the world. They have all extended their support. Unfortunately, because of certain things, they are not able to. But they do want our final report, so that they will be reaching out to you as well to build this thing going. And now, Congressman Sebastian, thank you.
Thank you, Cristo. And yes, I think we all love sports. We're passionate about sports. We are athletes or former athletes. I'm trying to take the former part out and stay with the athlete part right now. So yes, this has been a very interesting conversation. Thank you very much.
Once an athlete, always an athlete.
Exactly.
It's in heart. Take the former out.
Yes, exactly. So thank you very much for all the panelists today. As we have heard from all of you, sports are a strong tool for health and development and well-being in our communities. The UN recognizes sports as a vehicle to foster sustainable development as it promotes education, health, and peace in our countries. Sports also facilitates social inclusion, conflict prevention, women empowerment, and respect among us. I always like to say that sports can change our lives, but if we all work to promote its practice, sports can change our world. So everything we seek through sports is positive, and that is the power of sports. And that is why I would like to encourage all sports ministers that are here today in this meeting, and also the ones that are listening to this important meeting. I would like to ask them to promote in their countries the celebration of the International Sports Week every year from April 6th to April 9th. And of course, I would like to ask every UN delegate from our countries to support this initiative at the UN Assembly. I sincerely hope that the next year, this exact day, we will be not only celebrating the International Day of Sports for Development and Peace, as we are doing it today, but also celebrating the beginning of the International Sports Week in all our countries, where schools, universities, workplaces, every public and private institution will be organizing sports matches, sports forums, sports activities. We'll be talking about the importance of sports so that our population can understand, by practicing them, the power of sports that we all in this meeting understand. So thank you very much again. And Cristo, back to you for the next steps about this initiative.
Thank you very much. So our next step will be submitting this report to our team. Again, one more approval, and then we will be submitting to all the ministers that have expressed their interest. And then I request on behalf of the group of the Master Plan Group, Minister Emma and Minister Andrea to lead this global campaign. As you've heard, ambassadors are always supporting us, and this is a common cause that everyone is fighting for. And I'm pretty sure that the sports as a tool for good health and well-being, which is also SDG 3, which we also prioritize. And once again, before we conclude, I believe that you both will take the lead. And I am very confident that Excellencies will also support you all. If any final words from ministers, we'll be happy to hear, or else we can conclude.
Well, Crystal, from my side, finally, I once again just want to appreciate the opportunity to celebrate the International Sports Day in this very unique way. And I want to really, again, reiterate our support to rally behind the I'm With You campaign, and to see to it that come next year, April 6th to April 9th, we'll be able to celebrate the Sports Week. But I just want to end with a quote, and as we really rally behind this campaign, the quote from Nelson Mandela, who we know is one of our icons, he's a Nobel Prize winner. I want to quote him when he said that sport has the power to change the world. It has the power to inspire. It has the power to unite people in a way that little else does. So it speaks the language that they understand. So sport is a universal language that we can use for us to march towards achieving our developmental agenda of AU and towards achieving the SDG goals come 2030. And by that, I really wish everyone the best as we rally behind this campaign. Thank you once more.
Thank you, Excellency. Yes, sports is a global language. Honorable Minister Andrea.
Thank you very much. I will be honored to lead this initiative, this campaign. As I told you, we have a strong voice in the 42 countries in America. So it's our compromise to lead it, not just in America, also with our groups, fellow groups that we work with. So it would be an honor for me lead it in Ecuador, because here in Ecuador, we need a lot of compromise. Like Sebastian said, not just the public, the private to understand the importance of sport and to give it a week to practices and to really introduce people in sports is going to be very, very important for us like a country and for the Americas as a whole. So thank you very much for this, for inviting me, and count with a friend to do whatever we have to do to make this initiative and be the next year in this week together celebrating the Sports Week, the International Sports Week.
Thank you. That's a big thank you on behalf of the members of the Master Plan Group. Once again, thank you, Honorable Minister Emma. Thank you, Honorable Minister Andrea. His Excellency Omar, Permanent Representative of Morocco to the UN. Excellency Francisco Lopez, Permanent Representative of Portugal to the UN. Congressman Sebastian, Congressman Brennan, and Senator Mercy. So look forward to see you next year. I mean, we will be in touch. Thank you for the biggest thing that you are doing for the global youth. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank
See
you.
you very
Goodbye.
soon, inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.